All right, so what I'm attempting to do here, this is my first time setting up my EEG lab so that I could get some EEG recordings while I'm gaming to demonstrate changes in brain states and how EEG reflects what is happening in the outside world, depending on whether or not you're paying attention to something, whether or not you're thinking about something, whether or not you're working or doing those sorts of things. So this is my first attempt to get this set up. I've got all the gear together and it looks like it's working well. So I'm going to attempt to get some brainwave data here. So simply I'm going to jump in a helicopter here and go for a little fly. The first thing I need to do is make sure that I am not moving, because this particular EEG device doesn't like too much movement. This device is meant for lying down, sitting, or sleeping. It's not a sports device. It's a little bit limited in the way that I can't get up and run around. There's some things I can't do. I actually have to be careful of how much I move my face when I'm using this device, because facial movements and micro movements can interfere with the sensor data. So as can talking. And of course, when you talk, your face moves. So this is a whole bunch of stuff I'm trying to keep track of while I'm trying to do this. So this is going to be an interesting experiment, to say the least. So let's go for a little fly here and see what happens. Okay, I can see my brain telemetry is coming through fine. So I'm going to try to keep an eye on that. Right now, you'll see high beta waves. High beta waves means I'm thinking. I could be thinking about internal affairs. I could be thinking about external stuff, thinking about the game and those sorts of things. But all of these things kind of work together and they're reflected in your EEG graph output. So I'm going to attempt to get into a bit of a flow state. And what you should see is you should see the blue lines, my alpha rhythm, start to go up and take over the beta rhythm, which is the green line. So let's see where that goes. You can see the alpha rhythm is starting to rise, which means I'm starting to slide into a flow state. The longer that alpha rhythm stays up, the longer the flow state is maintained. I've got a lot I'm thinking about right now, trying to make sure all these devices remain connected, kind of sneaking peeks at the other screens and monitors to see if everything's working as it should. Usually I'm trying to do things without thinking too much or talking too much or moving my body too much. Take a little fly out the highway here, you know.
Crashing into everything. After I go for a little fly, I'm going to go for a little drive and see how that looks and what my brain looks like when I'm driving as opposed to flying. Let's take a little stop off here at the casino. I'm going to trade in my helicopter for a car, and we'll see what this one looks like. Go to the penthouse garage. All right. Let's take out the RE7B. Listening to the NPCs complain about my driving is always a source of entertainment.
Sort of the corner of my eye, I can see alpha is becoming dominant. Beta is kind of taking a little bit of a back seat there. Less thought, more presence. All right. Now I'm going to get out and walk around, do a little talking. You can see my rhythms change depending on what I'm doing. There's my arcade. All right, I'm going to relax in here for just a minute, and I'm going to close my eyes and go into a light meditative state, and I just want to see what the correlation and the comparison is between a flow state during driving and a light meditative state, and both should show dominant alpha rhythms and suppressed beta rhythms. So I'm just going to park myself up in the office here. Minimum amount of distractions. Because I can still hear the audio from the game, of course. Bathroom. Looks like it's some money to save at the same time. Yay, money! Alright. So I'm just going to park this guy here in the corner for a second, and I'm going to close my eyes and go into a light meditative state and hold that just for a couple of minutes. All right, so I'm just going to shut all this down here. This was essentially just a proof of concept. It looks like I got all this working, and we're going to do some really interesting tests going forward. This is kind of just the beginning of where I plan on taking this. So stay tuned for more interesting neuroscience and gaming.